Mental illness and mental health challenges are a symptom of our modern day society. Let me explain. The mental health crisis that we are facing in the world today stems from the fragmentation of our families and communities that has been going on for centuries for a variety of different reasons. War, poverty, immigration, abuse of all kinds, and the slow crumbling of multi-generational households in favor of single-family homes, which continues to increase and break down even further with high divorce rates and the enormous amount of people who nowadays are just choosing to isolate and live alone. And this mental health crisis has only been accelerated with technologies created in recent decades, with the invention of digital, screen-based social networks that have almost entirely replaced our wholesome family time and our true, authentic communities that we as a people once more fully participated in. And humans, being herd-based animals, we need community, not only for survival, but to thrive. Many of these challenges we face today only exist in our modern society. Tribal peoples with a strong sense of their community-based indigenous roots do not face the same mental health challenges that our modern day society struggles with. They also don't choose to attempt to colonize other cultures, abuse each other, or try to live and survive on their own. And most of our modern day society does not engage with that either. However, in these indigenous tribal communities, they live together in a community where every single individual has their own unique place in the community. And together, they think, move, and thrive in the mindset of unity, looking ahead 7 generations into the future. In these communities, there is no such thing as mental hospitals or prisons, and there is no need for them. These are inventions of modernity. So from a systemic perspective, there are clearly some traditions, behaviors, and patterns that we as a modern society have been participating in that perhaps is not in our best interest for the general overall health, well-being, and happiness of our communities. Now, tribal elders and shamans would say mental illness is the voice of the ancestors, trying to restore a connection to that which has been separated or disconnected. So let's run with this idea for a moment. Let's think about this. We wear the faces and bodies of our ancestors, and their emotions and their voices remain alive within us. They are stored deep within our bones. The very framework, that which gives us form and shape. And those of us who are sensitive, intuitive, empathic, compassionate, and deeply loving can easily feel these messages coming from somewhere deep within their being. And tribal elders and shamans would say it is the calling of our ancestors. This ancestral voice, if you will, often manifests in our lives as depression, mental health issues, challenges being able to thrive or be joyful, and sometimes it even results in early death. From a spiritual perspective, many people would say that we agreed to all of this before we even chose to accept this life and take our first breath. Others would say that we received all of this ancestral information from the genetic inheritance of our parents, which has been passed down from their parents and their parents and their parents. Others would say that we are struggling with our families and our community's social behaviors and experiences that we have come across throughout our lifetime. And I would say all of these are true, and there is more yet to explore and discover. The late internationally acclaimed intergenerational family therapist Dr. Ivan Nagy referred to these invisible influences that shape our emotional well-being and our behaviors as invisible loyalties that we have to our ancestors. Now, these invisible loyalties that we unconsciously act upon, that Dr. Nagy studied, are the energetic threads of connection that the revolutionary German psychotherapist Bert Hellinger named the family soul. Did you know that each family has a soul? Each family has a living, breathing, and forever growing and expanding soul. We may not be aware of it, but it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Let me give you some examples. Each family has a set of spoken and unspoken rules, guidelines, traditions, and ways of seeing and navigating the world. That is the family soul. When we were little kids, we knew when to ask mom and when to ask dad, because we knew what we could get away with from mom and what we could get away with from dad. That is the family soul. There is an energetic thread that binds a family together. It's where we get the phrase, blood is thicker than water. That is the family soul. Each of us was born from a family into a family. Therefore, each of us belongs to a family soul. And this belonging is forever protected by the family soul. It's just one reason why I say humans are a herd animal, like horses, cows, elephants, wolves, monkeys, and bumblebees. And this family soul is incredibly intelligent. It spans throughout space and time. So it's much more larger, much more powerful, much more intelligent than us, an individual soul. And so when someone or something is out of place, lost, forgotten, hidden, unresolved, or separated and disconnected, the family soul will employ living descendants to resolve that which has been left unresolved by the ancestors, which is what shamans and tribal elders refer to as the ancestral voice. And unfortunately, this ancestral voice doesn't speak to us literally in words. It speaks to us through emotions, feelings, behavior patterns, and illnesses. Now, modern science tracks these intergenerational connections and calls it genetics. And modern science is finally catching up with ancient shamanic wisdom traditions with the studies of epigenetics, where it is scientifically proven that humans have sovereignty over their gene expression, meaning depression, anxiety, and other mental challenges that we describe as genetic are not a lifelong sentence and can be healed. However, I will say, in order for someone to fully heal themselves of their mental health challenges, they must first work through and untangle themselves from the unresolved ancestral karmic agreements that we have been born into. Now, another major factor of mental illness and the mental health crisis that we face today is death by suicide. And we consider death by suicide to be a mental health challenge. And when someone dies an early death in a family system, whether it is a suicide or it's a miscarriage or abortion or an accident, it is because of an unresolved ancestral entanglement of the greater family soul. Therefore, the family soul calls upon an individual, and that individual responds to that call and decides to cross over into the land of the ancestors. We call this suicide or abortion or miscarriage or an accident. But from a shamanic and spiritual perspective, that person has chosen to cross into the land of the ancestors because they would be more helpful guiding us from the spirit world than in this realm of reality that we call Earth. Now, according to the book Our Bodies Keep Score by Bessel van der Kolk, our bodies, also known as our subconscious mind, tracks, remembers, and retains all of the memories of our ancestors at least 8 generations back, which creates a field of consciousness of hundreds upon hundreds of life experiences throughout hundreds and hundreds of years. And all of these life experiences throughout the centuries is connected to us. Therefore, from a systemic and shamanic and spiritual perspective, mental health challenges are the ancestors trying to tell us something. Are we listening? What are the ancestors trying to tell us? How can we decode and overcome the messages of anxiety, depression, addiction, and health challenges so that we can overcome this mental health crisis that we are facing and truly heal these inherited traumas once and for all, ending these intergenerational patterns so that we can make room for more joy, inner peace, love, and success into our lives, not only for ourselves, but for our children and their children and their children and their children, and our entire legacy 7 generations into the future. My name is Bryan Campbell, and I am a modern-day shaman and constellation facilitator. And I'm hosting a fundraising event for one of my favorite nonprofit organizations, Attitudes in Reverse. During this healing retreat, we will expand and engage with all of this ancient sacred wisdom around mental health from a spiritual and shamanic perspective. Now, Attitudes in Reverse, or AIR, is a team of beautiful human beings and canines working together in service of our youth, of our community, helping our children with their mental and emotional well-being. And this organization and their leaders, Trisha, Kurt, Caitlin, Kenny, and all of their lovely volunteers have touched my heart and soul many years ago. And so I formally invite you to check out their website, air.ngo, and consider making a donation. And if you can, come to my fundraising charity healing retreat, where all of the proceeds will go to helping all of our kids struggling with mental health. I thank you, and I hope you enjoyed this exploration of mental health and how it relates to us and our ancestors. And I send you lots of love and blessings. Thank you.